I would like to show you my best practice Flutterflow project setup, which I learned in the last 3 years working on multiple projects there. So every time when I start the project, I create the separate project's Google account, project name at gmail.com, what is the available there. Create obviously the Flutterflow project in my dashboard. Then with Flutterflow 5.0, we have the ability that natively using the development environments there. Previously, I have been using some custom bash scripts switching between environments. But here we will set up free standalone Firebase project for development, staging, and production environment, all them with pay-as-you-go plan set up with the GCP billing account. All that free projects we will add in the Rowy workspace. With Rowy, we can easily administrate the data in the Firebase projects there, where the Flutterflow app will be writing data, and then you can easily administrate that with Rowy there. To have the ability to easily export the source, we will make the GitHub integration with standalone organization and repository. And we will use my bunch of scripts, which I called flutterflow-socket, available on my GitHub account. With that bunch of scripts, we can easily test the app locally on physical devices or simulators, on more and more of them, and have the feature for live listening for the changes in the GitHub repository after the push from Flutterflow. So we will go right now to every that specific bullet on the agenda to show you how that is possible to make done. So we are starting. Here is the first of 6 steps. So we'll create the project's Google account there. So if we just go back here and let's back here in the browser, we can then create the standalone new profile. So here we are, just a moment. So what we have here, we will create the sequence flow new profile so that we have everything separate for that specific project in the browser. Let's then go to the Gmail and we will create the new account there. So sequence, what the project will be about, we'll be talking later. And so that is the straightforward process. Just create the new Google account, sequence flow organization, and actually that project will be available on sequence flow org domain, so it will be deployed on the Firebase there. So here we are. Here I will use my phone number for handling that one. So I'm here from Croatia, 9816166630. So when we handle all that two-factor authentication, then we'll be able to proceed there. 174050. Recover email. I'll usually put here my main email, and that's actually my main Google account, my main Flutterflow account. Everything okay. Google will use that one, but let's maybe try to add. Is it possible to add another one? It is. So recovery, we have another one. Express one step. Accept everything. Confirm it. Agree. Until we are waiting, so the sequence flow will be the app where you can better plan the development of Flutterflow app or any other development project. But during that whole series of videos, you will see how the progress of development of sequence flow works there. So here we are, and we are done with setup of Google account, but also because of the security reason, there I usually recommend adding the two-factor authentication there also. So I'm using the Twilio OTI authenticator app there on my phone, and I will add there. So security, two-step verification enable, Croatia. So I will get the phone number there. Here we handle the SMS verification there, adding the number, and that's it. So done. We can also add the passkey here in the browser. So just by handling that one, and we'll have better security of the code. Here it is. I'm just verifying that one, and that's it. So all that is set up here, and we have the completely prepared account for our project. And when we just go back to the Firebase, in the Firebase console, that one Google account will be the project holder for all that our projects there, but we will continue with that later. And we'll continue with second step, so the Flutterflow project setup. So here we are, and we will create a new project, sequence flow. Sequence flow create completely blank, and here what we'll have is our reverse package name org sequence flow. Use everything default, enable web, set up Firebase. Next step, we'll set up Firebase later, enable authentication, create user collection. Here we want to have create blank, and that's the login page. And also logged in page should be default one. Home page, that's it. Start building, and here we have something like login, and here we have sequence flow home for now, just as a placeholder. And that's it for now. What we will then handle, so we have the Firebase setup. We will continue with setup there, but later then we will set up the authentication on the users, all the stuff here, deploy the Firebase functions, deploy the Firestore rules, also deploy the Firebase storage stuff here, set up the projects with free environments. But before that, we have the pre-requirements for creation of free Firebase projects. So here we are on the third step. So we'll set up free Firebase projects. First for development environment, second one for staging environment, and third one for the production usage there. So here we are in the Firebase project setup. So let's continue. When we are here in the Firebase console, we will initially create FF sequence flow prod production. We will accept everything here. We'll just copy that one here. We'll create the analytics account. We are here in the Croatia, just to handle correctly the time zones there. The Google Analytics sequence flow production, that's all correct. Firebase.com. We will there again in the console create the another two environments. So sequence flow staging. For me, it's nice to have human readable GCP ID. So for example, when you type something here and if you got the hash on the ending, I like to add something more human readable just to be that one unique in the whole world. In the and always I prefix the Firebase project with FFs, which is the assuming to be the Flutter flow there. Then the project identifier and then the environment. Enable Google Analytics for that. Here we are. We have set up the production one. And when we are continue, we will use here the Croatia, accept one, create project. And again, in the Firebase console, it would be nice that we got that one in the same Firebase project, but it doesn't matter for now. Development, enable, and here we can select the default for Firebase from here. And the sequence flow staging is also created. So in every project we need to set enable authentication there. So the authentication takes few steps just to check what's happening here. All that is fine. So I enable usually email password provider. We will use the phone login in the app. We will provide the anonymous, but not enable right now. I like to use the Google one, and then when you are set upping all the stuff here, sequence flow, make that one to be human readable there because user will see that one in the client. Because we created that one in the project's holder account, we have that ability that will be visible there. And so we create that one. In the staging one, also make the same stuff. So we'll enable for now email and password. We will enable the phone login there to have in the app. We will enable Google one. Sequence, flow, and use the staging there. In the production, we don't have anything because users don't want to see the production there, but staging it means that we'll just be able to see the difference there in the app there. We can just zoom it out. So we also have the created there in the development environment. And also I like to enable the login with Apple because in the iOS app, it will be really nice that you can log in easily with biometrics there with Face ID or Touch ID, what is enabled depending on the version of iPhone. And that's really useful there. So here we need to add the Apple login. For me, other providers, I usually don't use them because that four of them, it's more than enough for the enterprise level of the app. So, but for some specific users, if you are building the app, for example, for some developers, it will be likely that you want to enable maybe the GitHub login there or some social where you want to log in with Facebook or any others provider there. So login with phone. Here we are. Login with Google, enable, and that is important. Sequence flow development. Develop. Because when that one is not created in the behind, in background, the Google Cloud Platform will create the client, web client for authorization and everything there. So it is really nice that you can create that one from Firebase here, because a lot of stuff are created in background there. So login with Apple, and from the perspective of authorization, all that is set up here. So if you go back in the Flutterflow project, here in the authentication, you need to have enabled Firebase there. So, but when you come back here, it's not good enough for now that you set up, because you need to go to the, in every specific project, in the users and permissions, and now you have that one default one as an own with owner permission. If you check the documentation of Flutterflow there in the docs flutterflow.io, you will see in the Firebase setup, connect to Firebase. If you follow all that stuff here, you will see that exactly all the steps will be there what I handle right now here. So use Firebase flutterflow.io as their Google account, which is the, I guess, service account by Flutterflow, and you put them as the editor there and add member. Also, to enable the push notifications deployment of the Firebase functions and everything, that Google account also needs to have two special roles which you can set up in the Google Cloud IAM section product, which is also called here. If you just come here, okay, that's the initial time I'm starting here. I will just need to enable the stuff here. And when I choose the Firebase Flutterflow.io here, I will then assign two additional roles. So first one is the Cloud Functions admin, and the second one is the Service Account user. So that two are important to handle all the backend stuff in GCP to deploy or required services. So that's enough for here. And when you come back here and when you refresh it, you will see that Firebase Flutterflow.io has that two additional roles assigned. Again, replicate the same stuff for the staging and development environment, the user and permissions. I'll just paste it here, add the editor, and make that one as fast as possible. Then open the I am there. Here, user and permissions. Add member, paste it here, select roles editor. Add member, go back here, Firebase, add Flutterflow.io, edit, add another role, Cloud Functions admin, there, add another role, Service Account user, I can have it here, save it, and make the same stuff on the development environment. So here, if you see, we have the Cloud Functions admin editor and service account users. That's all enough for manually set up. If you choose in the Flutterflow, you can use the create project feature, then all that will be set up for you manually there. But when you're using the multiple projects, it's much easier for me to set up all the stuff here manually, and I get used for that one because I have been set upping that more than 50 times in the last 3 years. And it's not, and that's the usually one-time job, and you got more knowledge how the setup of your project is working here, if you want to have that knowledge for maintenance process of the Flutterflow project there. So when we assign that one here, we can close it when we go back here and refresh it. And usually, because in my personal Google account, which I'm using for the development, and actually I have that one assigned in my terminal. They are also signed in with Firebase tools and Google Cloud SDK, Google Cloud CLI, sorry, there. Then I usually also uh, add my personal Google account here as an owner, that I can that I'm not required to authorize more than once, and you will see that one in the later steps, how I got all that available under my personal account. And that my personal account, of course, it has two-factor authentication and all other security levels, which is highly recommended that you always use the two-factor authentication on your development Google account. So here we have the pending invitations. So if we just go back in the another browser, I will show you in where I am signed in with my personal Google account. So we are here, and when I go to console, I should see 3 new uh, pending invitations here. As you can see, that's from the sequenceflow.org gmail.com, and I will just accept all that 3 invitations there. And why I also add that one to my account, because I will show you, open the production here, because on that account I have linked my company billing account, and when I just come here in the bottom left corner, by default every Firebase project is on the free plan. But with free plan, you are not available to deploy and use the Firebase functions. So it's important that you upgrade uh, every Firebase project which you will use from Flutterflow to pay-as-you-go Blaze plan. So when I click here, and then I also have my linked account here, and my company billing card is set up with that iTalk billing account, and it's much easier for me that I set up that one from here. And I usually put the budget of $1, and when that one is exceeded, you will get the notification on your email. All that is here, link cloud billing account. We will make the same stuff for the Firebase console here, and again Firebase console here. I will just shortly go back here, and you'll see when I refresh the production environment Firebase project here, you will see that now it's upgraded to the Blaze plan. Okay, here we are, but I got some idea. You don't see that one because I will just switch here where it's hidden, that slide title. Now you should see better. So here is the Blaze pay-as-you-go plan. But for example, on the staging and on the development environment, it's not. So if you are here in the Google account of the project and you click upgrade and you select the plan, then you will need to click continue. And if you click continue, then because that Google account does not have already set up Google Cloud Platform billing account and everything, you will need to set up all the stuff here. You will need to confirm from where you are, set up all the organization data, payment methods and everything. That's why I usually put all the projects on my personal account, and my personal account already have the linked my company account, and for that is me it's much easier when I just come here, for example, in the staging, and also here in the development project, Firebase project. So it's here. And when I from here, where I'm signed in with my personal account there, you will see when I upgrade from here and click Blaze Plan, I can just click here, and it's much faster because it's not required to set up anything with the payment methods and everything, because that is already configured there. Also on development environment, just select the iTalk billing account here and click continue, link cloud billing account. And but based on that's perfect. And by default, just notice that GCP billing accounts has something about 10 or 5 GCP projects by default, but with calling, sending there the support ticket in Google Cloud Platform, you can easily increase that one with the support. So I increase that one to the 100. Okay, here we are. So we have upgraded all three Firebase projects to the Blaze plan. Okay, next stuff, what we need to set up. So we want to use the Firestore. Uh, Here, use the Firestore database and use the Firestore database here in development. So here we are. We can create the database from here, and we'll use the default database here, and we can choose where the data will be located for sequence flow. We will use the multi-region in the United States. I usually, for my clients from Europe, if it's the specialty territory and the company is registered in the Europe, I usually use the UR3, which is using the Belgium and Netherlands Google Cloud Platform data centers, but we'll right now use the located in United States, because we want to target sequence flow worldwide for all the projects there, and that will be deployed into GCP locations, data centers in United States. To check what is the NAM5, just check that one somewhere in the, just because there is the available locations of GCP, but I don't know from the head which exactly are the locations there. Then start the project in production mode so that everything is disabled. So you're not by default, if anyone knows your Firebase API key, which is actually available publicly. For example, it's really easy to extract that one from the APK file of the deployed Android app on the Google Play Store or anywhere publicly, or in the web also. It's much really easy to check that one. But you will later then set up the Firestore rules there. So then provisioning, and usually I always create that one from the Firebase, because actually right now in the background, Google will set up everything for you automatically. And also that one location which we choose here, it will be also the location for uh, Firebase storage bucket default one. So also replicate the same stuff here, and as you can see, you are not able to change that one later. So use the NAM5 here, create, and also make the same stuff on development there. Next, create. So let's go back to the production. Also, what we need to set up to using that we can upload files to the Firebase storage, we'll also need to come here to the storage section, storage product actually there. Get started, also start in the production one. It's much easier for, trust me, for development that you just start with everything is closed and then you are opening the access to the data as you need from the client side. And the client side is actually the Flutter app, which will be deployed on iOS, Android, web, on macOS, on Windows, and on the Linux there. So optionally on maximum to the 6 platforms, but you can choose where you will deploy it. And actually, if you can see, you are not able to choose the same location of the default Firebase storage bucket is the location of the Firestore database, and that actually makes sense because you want to have that one closely in the same location there just to minimize the network latency between the fetching the files and any data from database. So here we are. So that one will be set up and replicate the same stuff for the staging and development environments there. Get started, next, done, all that. Right now the GCP is provisioning that one with their backend jobs there, handling all the stuff, EM and everything what is needed there. And as you can see, that is the really developer friendly here from the Firebase, because you just have the one button and all other stuff is handled in behind, and you have the default bucket ready here for using. Okay, and we will use the hosting where we will deploy the web application of Flutter web application. But if you just come here, next, you will see that that is just waiting here for the initial deployment. So if you just come here and you click open, you will see that that one is here. So perfect. But we want to use our custom domain for the web application, and for the production we will use the app dot sequence flow org, that one, and then click continue. And later then I will set up in my DNS management the domain there. I'm actually also want to recommend you that you use the Cloudflare for DNS management there. So we'll set up that one later. If we just click here, verify, nothing will be there. Again, verify, nothing happened there. That's fine. Also make the similar stuff for the function, sorry, but the hosting. For now, make the similar stuff for the staging and development environment, add custom domain, and then we can use the staging.app sequence flow org. Close for now. And in development, build hosting, get started, next, add custom domain, and here we can have development app sequence flow org. Continue. Close for now. So we need to set up that later. We will, but we will see. I will handle that later. Also here we need to use the Firebase functions. Here you will also see just get started, but actually nothing will happen. It will just lead you that you can initialize the deployment of that specific project local. We will handle that one also later. But just to come here, and also it's not necessarily if you just come here, click get started, just to make that one first onboarding screen to be hidden, and make the same stuff for functions. Okay, finish. From the list of other available products in Firebase, you can use the app check for verification and make more secure your web application there. You can use the app hosting. For example, I can recommend you that you use for, maybe for the landing pages if you are building with Next.js or uh, Angular there, you can use the server side rendering because the app hosting is the new feature. It's still in the preview there, but it will use the behind in the background there the uh, Google Cloud Run where your backend will be deployed. No, your Node.js app in the Google Cloud Run container there. Okay, data connect is not important. You will see we'll use that extensions later. For example, I like to use the extensions for Stripe payment, Historian for tracking the deletion update and everything, all the changes in Firestore database, and also I like to use the trigger mail where I'm using the Google Workspace as SMTP, Gmail Relay as SMTP server, but using the trigger mail, which is built on top of Node Mailer and Handlebars template engine that you can easily send the transactional emails there. And also I like to set up the newsletters also there. Firestore database we set up, we use the functions, we use the hosting. Machine learning is not important right now. You can use the TensorFlow there. Real-time database, it's awesome database on top of Firebase when you have something really real-time intensive with multiple users. But general database Firestore is more than enough for general purposes there. Storage is using for the upload of data. A/B testing where you can test stuff, AdMob for using the commercials there, and you can earn with AdSense in your Flutter apps. App distribution, I'm usually not using because I have been using previously, but it is using a lot of setup there, especially for iOS, where you're distributing the app as enterprise. But for testing the app, I usually using on iOS TestFlight and Google Play for Android. That's it. Crashalytics are available in the Flutterflow. I'm using it there. Dynamic links are deprecated, so I'm not using there anymore in the new projects, and you're not able. With messaging, that's awesome because you can use the push notifications there and also in-app messages. Performance, I'm not using so often. Uh, Release monitoring, never. I'm using the remote config, and also you can set up your config variables in Flutterflow there, and then you can control them from Firebase project where you have them mapped in the client side in the Flutter app. Test labs are for testing on multiple devices, not so often there. Analytics, that's actually just the shortcuts for Google Analytics projects, but really nice to have that available from Firebase directly from the Firebase project. If you check the all products, you will see all the stuff here, but actually we just go walk through all of them here. But as you can see, that one list of Firestore database storage, hosting, functions, and app hosting are not so important, but actually that four are important there. But you need to use the authentication there. So authentication is much more because here you can just go and administrate all the stuff for the authentication stuff in your Flutterflow app. So let's continue there in the Flutterflow where we are. So we set up everything there, but you will see we have the issue there that the project authentication requires setup with the Firebase. So if we just come here and use the FF sequence flow production, and you can connect. But before that, I will just copy that one. You have here the development environments. You have the production by default, and that's actually working backward compatible with all other Flutterflow projects created since 2021 there. And after the 5.0 development environments are here, you can add the additional environments, but by default production is the one there. So I like to create the staging and development. Here you can use all that stuff, environment variables which are here, and by default just create the env, use the env as the capital letters there, create here production, sorry, development, I forgot that we are development. When we switch here, we can use the staging, and in the production, use the production. I suggest you that you use the env variable there, definitely in your client-side app, because then you can put that one on your screen somewhere in the settings, in some footer or anywhere, that you get the incentive for your users and for you, where you have the deployed app, that you know on which environment you are. And that's just the human readable there. But when you come back to the Firebase, you also can switch because you don't have only one uh, environment here. Now you have the three of them. For the production, we can use that one, FF sequence production. If we just go back here, here we have FF sequence flow production, sequence flow, and when we click connect, everything should be success. Awesome, because for the Firebase at flutterflow.io, we add there the editor permission. Okay, here we are. Firebase storage are not deployed here, but you can just go back here. If you go back to the storage, you will see that here in the rules section, there is the default one, but and only one revision is deployed there. If you go back to the Flutterflow, click deploy, you will see, so really soon it will be deployed. When you come here and refresh, sorry, I'm on the wrong browser. Here, also storage in the staging. If we just go back in the, until we are waiting for loader, here, you will see that the new revision, new version, which is available here, are deployed here. So that's actually the version from Flutterflow. If we just go back here in the rules, and also here in the rules, you'll see that's the default one, but actually here is the newest version of Flutterflow. So let's go back here, and when you just come here and click staging, you'll see that when you go back to the production, here the Firebase project is set up. When you come back here and you paste it, you'll see the staging here, click the connect, and everything is success. So here we are, Firebase storage, deploy, yes. When we also come back here, again refresh on the staging, and make the same stuff for the development. So here, use the development, exact development there, and click deploy. Yes. So here we are. We have the here, and here we have that one. But also when we refresh, we should see the changes there. Awesome. So here we are. We here have the, so the default region is default one. That's actually the US Central one. And the Firestore database is that one, which is working there. All other stuff are not necessarily to set up here. If we just go back to the settings, and when we, so right now, what is important, let's come back and let's switch to the production one. So here we are. If we also go back to the development environment, here we are. Oh, we have the one issue. What we Project use Firebase but requires configs are not uploaded. Okay, we need to click on the here, and project nickname is sequence flow. Before we click here, I will show you something. Here in the app details, let's make that one more here. When I create the project, I like that the project has everything in the lowercase, but later then just to have that one as production ready stuff, which will looks like there. So let's go back to the Firebase here, generate config files, sequence flow, and that's the package name. When we just come here, go back here, and when you come here to the project settings, now you'll see that there are no any apps, but when we so we are on the development, sorry. Here we just need to sequence flow production and refresh again. It takes few seconds. So it will be created 3 apps: iOS, Android, and web. Perfect. So we have that one here. But what is also important, if you just come back here in the Flutterflow, and then you'll see everything is fine here. We have the Firestore not deploys, not deploys. Let's also deploy that one in the meantime. So we are right now in the production environment, which you can see here. When you click deploy, so that one will deploy the Firestore rules. If you go back in the Firestore database there, you will see that new revision of the rules are available here. That's it. So we got that one at 12 and 7 minutes PM. But actually that new one is deployed by Flutterflow. If you just go back in the Firestore database on the staging and on the development, you will see that in the rules, they are just the one version of rules. But when we just go back here, when also we are here in the setup stuff, settings Firebase, and switch to the product to the staging one, we need to generate config files. But what is the missing here? I like to have, so the package name should be the reverse domain of the project, but also add the staging there. Why? Project nickname, it doesn't matter. So you can leave it as is there, but leave it as sequence flow there, because that will be generated in the Firebase project. But let's make that the package name is it includes the staging and or development depending on the environment, because you will want to install the app on your iPhone and Android device. For example, 3 different one with different package names, and different package names requires that you have different package name for 3 different installed apps. Otherwise, if you have the package name only org sequence flow for production, and then you test for the staging, and then you test for the development, every time your installation of the app on the iPhone and on Android device will be deleted. But if you want to have at the same time the free versions of the app with different environments, you want to have different package names. Generate files. So when we are here, and if we just come here in the staging and we refresh it, nothing should be changed. Yeah, perfect. But if we just, so we need to wait for generate there. If we just go back here and deploy the rules, deploy it there, and when we refresh from here, we will see that the new revision of Firestore rules are available there. And that's awesome. And we want that behave like this. When we go back to the project settings, we should see 3 different apps here. If you leave that the org sequence flow org is the same for more than one Firebase project, here you will got the warning that the SH1 fingerprint is the same between multiple Firebase projects, and you don't want that. So when we also come back here, project setting in development environment, go back here and switch the dev environment to development. And for example, if you just go back to the app details, I will show you one detail. So package name currently in the version of Flutterflow 5.0.1 is not environment aware, but I hope it will be in some future version, like it is for Firebase Project ID and other stuff. But they announced that integration variables, also you will have the same issue for Algolia, for example here, and in the Stripe. Where is the Stripe? Here, when you enable that stuff. So I guess you want to have multiple environments, different API keys for different environments, but that is still not available. But also here is the issue. So when we are right now on staging, if you open here, you will see project uses Firebase auth, but not uploaded. So that's for the development. If you switch to the staging, everything should be fine. But when you switch back to the production, you will see that again we have the same issue. The package name presents in the Firebase Android must include your app's package name or sequence flow staging. But bundle ID, it has the mismatch org sequence flow org. Just ignore that one for now. But you need to be aware when you are switching between environments that you need go to the app details and just come here and put to the correct one. And you will see that immediately right now the error is missing. That's fine for now. But when you just go back to the Firebase and switch again to the staging, you will got the issue there. So now you have the issue. But let's finish the development environment setup. So here we are. Go back to the app details, and as you can see, here is the production one. If you come here to the and you click generate config files, leave the nickname as is, but put the development here. That will also have the side effect consequence there. So everything will be fine for development environment right now, but also you have right now the problem in production and in the staging environments. So whenever you switch between environments, you need go to the app details and put the correct one package name. But what is important, you are not required to every time regenerate all that config files, because that's right now is available for every during the setup. As you can see, there is the no apps, but when you refresh it here, you will see that right now in the development environment, which is the here, where you can see here is the development ID of the Firebase project, and here you have the package name, which is the org sequence flow development. And as you can see, here is no collision with the fingerprint, because the different fingerprints are for every that one. Actually, the fingerprints are the same, but there is no collision because the package names are different. So here we are. Let's go back to the Flutterflow, and so we deployed that one. The last stuff which is missing, Firestore rules deploy. Let's deploy that one. So here we are. And another warning is Firestore rule setups, Firestore security may be too open. Just ignore it for now. You will handle that one later, depending on your required securities. But that's nothing. That is the same like in any other Flutterflow project. So here we are. We are on the development environment. So let's also we need to test. Let's back here. Let's again check to the app details, and as you can see the package name is correct, but I will show you when you go back here to switch to the staging, you have the issue here, and you have the two errors there. If you are here, also just staging, put the correct one which is already on the Firebase, and that's fine. Also, if you just go back to the dev environment, switch to the production, you will again got the two errors. When you click here and you just delete, put the correct one, which is the production one, which is the org sequence flow, and now everything is fine. Again, you will have the issue when you switch to the staging or development environment. But let's continue with a setup of the Firebase project. So we want to test that actually when you come back here, you want to deploy that automatic uh, Firebase function. So that one is working when you delete some user from Firebase authentication product in GCP, it will be automatically deleted there in the users collection. And that's fine because that's automatically how you want to handle when some of your users want to completely delete data from your database, depending on the all the legal laws there worldwide in the Europe, in the US, and other places. So there, because we added that the Firebase at flutterflow.io Google account has the Cloud Functions admin permission, it can deploy that function in the Firebase project. So if we just come back here to the functions, you will see we are still waiting for the first deploy. We'll again come to the functions product in Firebase project for the staging and for the development environment. If we are here, and always there is the issue unknown error, and then you just make that one deploy again, and you will see in several seconds everything will be fine, and the function will be deployed and visible here. So just refresh it here. All that is fine for now. So waiting for your first deploy still. Again, we just need to wait something there because there is some backend configuration by Google Cloud Platform which will become available with all that initialization and everything, because actually that is the first time in your Google Cloud project where all that necessarily services should be enabled there. But why contact support flutterflow.io? That was actually working because that simple Firebase function should be deployed soon there, and actually that should work. We'll just again wait a little bit there. Let's go back here and check what's happening here. Is that function deployed? Still nothing. Wait. Maybe we'll just skip that one because actually I also like, you will see that in the later chapter of the project setup, when we are using the Rowy workspace, where you can use the Rowy actions, Rowy derivatives, Rowy extensions. They are actually deployed there as the Firebase functions and also running in the Google Cloud run containers. And that is actually working there. And also, you will see later when you want to manually develop and deploy a Firebase function locally for in your editor, Visual Studio Code or any other, you can develop that one, make the local Firebase function deployment, and deploy that one manually. And I also recommend that one because since the last few months, Firebase tools are changed that the are deploying the new functions as Firebase version 2 functions, which is actually deployed as a Google Cloud Run containers, which is the much faster for because the some of the newest some of the not so later their version of Firestore SDK in the JavaScript code are using the uh, Google protobuf dependency. And actually, when that one is deployed with Firebase version 1 functions, that is actually taking uh, a long that is triggered and it's running in all that every time calls start. But actually, that is working much faster with when you have multiple queries and writings to database in some bunch of, let's for example, 100 lines of Node.js code, and that one is much better to have that one with deployed with Firebase version 2 function, and I will show that you later. And actually, it seems that it will work right now. So it was just need to take all that initialization on GCP there. If we just come back here, you will see maybe it's already visible function there. Perfect. We have the function there, but the whole deployment process by the Flutterflow, it's already right now done by the Flutterflow backend there. Also, make the same stuff for staging and for the development. So we are here, development environment, use the staging. Again, we will have the issue, use the package name, put the staging here. But actually that is not important right now when we are deploying. Uh, Here, deploy. Again, we will have the same issue. You will see, it will run the deployment here. So we are here, we don't see anything here, and that usually takes few minutes. You will see later in this all the stages of the development of your Flutterflow project. Later, then you will also enable, and we will here enable the push notifications, and then we will not have that issues because that is actually that kind of issue is on the first deployment of Firebase functions. But when all that is initialized there on the side of Google Cloud Platform project, then everything works. As you can see, we got the error again. Again, wait for a minute or two. We will see what will be there as the new. I will just there pause that one just to make that one video faster. Hello, here we are again. So after several minutes, the deployment is successful. So if we just come here and refresh it, we'll see that also like it is on the production environment on user deleted, it's also available on user deleted on staging environment. So let's make also that one here on the dev environment, but in development. So when we are here, again, go back to the app details and make that one development. And actually now the matching between the Firebase and the Flutter flow are correct. Click deploy. Again, we will got the issue. We'll wait for the error. That preview. So rules. When we go back here, development environment, when we refresh, we can see that nothing is here. As expected, and as expected, we got that Flutterflow has insufficient permission. Okay, maybe did we forgot add that permission on the user and permission there? We didn't. Firebase at flutterflow.io. All that stuff is correct. Let's deploy again. But that's the usually general issue with every setup of Firebase function. In again, unknown error, as you can see, there is the no insufficient permission. But again, now we again click deploy. Maybe we will need also few times there, but until that one is deployed, I will again pause the recording just to make that one faster and not waiting for 3 minutes. Again, and just to finish the third step, I will show you that everything right now is successfully deployed on development environment also. If we just again back to the project here, open the functions product in Firebase, we can see that on user deleted is deployed on the development also. So that was the last step, and we right now can continue with the fourth step there in setting the project. Continue with the fourth of 6 steps there. We will use on top of our project, we will use the Rowy. If you're not familiar with Rowy, it's this app, open source app built on top of React Node.js. It is actually looking like an Airtable, but it's using the data from your Firebase project. So actually, when your project is using the stuff from Flutterflow and writing the data there in the Firebase, Firestore, and Firebase storage, actually you can have some more general available administration interface for using the Rowy to use it there. It's built on the React and Node.js, and the team behind Rowy is also building the build ship there. So you can check their YouTube channel with all that stuff, and also the official integration between Rowy and Flutterflow are available there. So just go to the Rowy.io, click Get Started, and what is important, let's be in the browser where you are signed in with your project sequence flow or gmail.com and your project name at gmail.com, and then log in there. That will create the new workspace, Rowy workspace there, and that new Rowy workspace you can use for, and let's name it sequence flow, something like this. Choose whatever you want, use as a developer, just me database CMS, and then you will be on the next step. What is the important here? Because right now all the ownership and everything what you have in your project there, you can have that one in the separate Google account, and that's the, if you sell your startup or whatever there, you can easily just have all that under your Google account, and in the same way you can have the Rowy workspace. I will continue later, so I will remove the title just to have more room there. Okay, so here, first of all, like we created the Firebase project with Google Projects Google account, we can also right now here invite the team members. I will invite myself and put all the roles there, just to have the full permission to manage all the stuff there. Actually, you'll see when I come there in my, I will show you here. Let's log in there. I will show you in the Rowy how that looks like. Just wait a moment. A Rowy app. Just waiting for authentication there. And here is the browser where I am signed in there with my Google account. But actually, here is a lot of workspaces where I am invited, working on multiple projects. But also here I got the invitation uh, by Sequence Flow project. I will accept it. And also, me and other developers can work in their account with the Rowy, but managing that specific workspace. And in every Rowy workspace, you can have multiple Firebase projects. Okay, so here we are. So here we have the sequence flow. So we can continue develop, setup and everything from here. But to have all that much more clear here, and I will just continue here. And also one pending invite. If I just refresh it here, you will see that the members of that new workspace, I'm here, I have all 4 roles, and I am right now invited there. Perfect. So we are here in the Rowy workspace. I can just now come here and I can add the sequence flow production, but actually I will not put the production there. I will put the development. Why? Because the Rowy workspace free account can only give one project there to be assigned, and all the changes, all the development, everything what you want, you can make in the your development in the early stage, but later then you can set up all the stuff there with staging and production when you pay to the Rowy there. Previously, there was the ability that you can add multiple projects in the same workspace. Okay, also workaround is that you have multiple workspaces with one project there, but that is not recommended. Okay, so we need to authorize Rowy to have all the permission for us in that one specific project. So just give all the permission which are necessarily there. So the Rowy will be able to deploy in your Firebase project. You'll see we'll use the development there. Confirm using that project. So it will deploy the Google Cloud Run instance. So use the same region which you have been using for the Firestore. It's recommended. When I deploy to the Europe, I use the Belgium because it's the Europe West one. But in the United States, we choose the NAM5 there, but not deploy the functions in multi-region. So just use the US Central. US Central, sorry, where is the Central? We lost it. Okay. US Central is the North Carolina, if I remember, and then enable. So right now, the Rowy with their backend scripts, with because you grant them all the permissions, there it will deploy all the stuff which are necessarily to work on your project, and actually it will be deployed in your project. I will show you that. So if you use the FF sequence development there, you can, the easiest way is just come here and click advanced permission. It will open the EM product in your uh, Google Cloud platform. And as you can see, the project GCP ID is the same like the Firebase project. Firebase is just the nice interface to GCP. In GCP, you can choose much more more products there from here. As you can see, a lot of them view all products, and all of them are available here, and you can specifically enable and whatever. But what is important, you can open the Cloud Run here, product, and as you can see right now, the deployment of that services are in progress. So right now, the Rowy scripts are deploying that one as two standalone Google Cloud Run Docker instances there. And Rowy hooks is using that you can, in every specific table, you can deploy the webhook. And the Rowy backend is using internally service account and your whole permissions. And when you are developing, for example, a Rowy uh, action, you can immediately, without anything, any waiting for deployment of Firebase functions, like it is the traditionally when you deploy that one locally in Visual Studio Code and deploy from the terminal, you can test that Node.js code instantly. That's the, for me, the most powerful of Rowy. I will show you that later. And when you're completely satisfied, for example, after 20 development cycles of your specific feature as the Rowy action, then you can manually deploy that one as a Firebase version 2 uh, function as a sum, for example, on document written Firestore trigger there from your source. I will show you that later. So here we are. The deployment is complete. If we just go back here, we got the tick here. So everything is done. Continue. So also additional stuff which are here. Rowy will need to deploy the bunch of Firestore rules. Set rules. Click continue. And also deploy the rules for uploading the, and as you can see here, if the request token roles are bigger than 0, then actually you have the custom claim and you can upload with the roles there. For example, if you're an admin, some files to the Firebase storage. And how was your experience? Definitely we can make it like, and I always make it like, because definitely that whole process is straightforward and really easy to set up. So here we are. Also, we will try to add the staging and the production projects there in the workspace. But because we are on the base plan, we will not have the ability to add unlimited projects there. And you can check that as the Rowy pricing there. So just if we just go back to the here, and as you can see, this workspace is only free version of Rowy. Upgrade to unlock this feature. Okay, workaround, you can create the, okay, you are not able also create here the additional workspace. Workaround is that you create the separate, for example, sequence flow staging and sequence flow production account there, and under that account create the new Rowy workspace, and in that Rowy workspace add the production and staging Firebase projects. Uh, that's the free workaround. but I do not recommend that one. If you want to use multiple projects there, just pay the Rowy there. Okay, so let's go back here in the sequence of the Rowy, and everything is set up there. But what is there? Right now, we don't have any, we can discard it, because if we just go back in the development there, build and Firestore database, you will see that we don't have anything there. We have the Rowy, but we don't have, and because that is ignored there. Here is all the configuration for Rowy, but here we don't have the Rowy installed because that specific Firebase project is not already in the Rowy workspace. Workspace, and also here Firestore database, we are here, we don't have it, but we have it here. So we can go back to the Flutterflow, and for example, let's create, we have the user schema here, but for example, let's just right now create some general purpose collection there, and in the sequence flow, we will have the collection called workspaces. Really similar to the Rowy. So one user can be in multiple workspaces as a member of multiple workspaces, and we can start from scratch. We can have the title, and that title could be the string there. Just really simple there. And also we can have the another one schema. We will have the projects. That one. So the projects will be standalone entities there. Also start from scratch. We'll have the title and where it is the string, and that's it. Every project could be in multiple workspaces. So we'll not have something like the reference to the workspace right now. But let's, for example, that we can have that one here. And for now, just come here to manage content. And right now the Flutterflow CMS is opened for me in another browser. I will show you that here. Until that one is opened, we will just add some general purpose if the rules for, yeah, everything is successful. So we'll just create some test workspace. Workspace 001, and we will add another one, workspace 002, just to have some general data in our Firestore database. If we just go back here, so here we are. If we again come here, and because the new collection is created, we can see the workspaces collection here, which is created by the Flutterflow CMS. But when we go back to the Rowy, Rowy is here. So tables, wait a moment, tables here, create a table. You'll see that it will suggest, so collection name is here, workspaces. I like to use the name of collection also as the name of table, and the ID to be the same one. Create. So here we are. You will see that Rowy suggests us there that we can import the existing data. If we just come here, I will select all, sort table, continue, and just leave it as is. Do not change anything here because the Rowy has the bug. So if we just have the multiple of them, we change it, we click continue, and then everything crashes. Just leave it as is, edit that one later. Title, okay. Also leave it as is to be the date time. As you can see, it is the wrong one. It should be the short text. Finish. Here we are. But what is the important? We have the key, which is exactly the key from database. Rename it here to the title, just to be the same, because also I like that that one is here. When we change that one, let's save it, that the column signs is persisted there. And as you can see, because it is looks like the date, but it's not the date, edit the type. Edit type to be the short text, because that's the one-liner string. And we can see it. So here we are, insert left. I usually insert left the ID. That ID is the Firestore document ID. And you can edit all that one here inline, which is sometimes really useful. But for example, if you have 30 plus fields or something, then the Rowy, that vertical form, which is here, it's much user friendly there. Also from here, you can just click here and it will open the specific Firestore document there. And you can also edit that one from here. 1.1, update it. And when you update it, you will see that it's immediately visible in the Rowy. Why? Because the Rowy, it's nothing just the web app client to the same Firebase project, and actually it's available here. Also, if you enable that one 1.1.1, and when you switch anywhere outside, it will be saved, it is visible here, and the change is visible in database. And the same stuff is there. If you change that one from your implementation in Flutterflow app, it will be visible here. If you make that one changes also in the Flutterflow CMS, it will be visible there. Some additional, so what I didn't mention there, and I can recommend you that, is the tool, macOS desktop tool, which is called Firefoo. Firefoo. I'm using Firefoo. Uh, I'm using the Firefoo also last few years. Just link it. It costs $9 per month, but it's the general purpose GUI client for macOS and Windows there, which you can use, and it's really, really useful for manipulation the data. I will show you. I will open the Firefoo here. Firefoo, and I'll close some other projects there. Okay, so here we are. This is how the Firefoo looks like. That's the all my available Firebase projects there with my Google account. But as you can see here also we have the sequence flow, that free projects. I like to make usually the color of the production one to be red, staging to be blue, and the development to be green. That gives you just the incentive that you can make whatever you want in development. In staging, be more careful and be the most careful in production one. If you open the workspaces from here, you will see that you have the workspaces data in the Firefoo also. So let's remove the Firefoo for now. It's not so important, just some nice to have feature, nice to have tool there. So for managing the data in Firebase, I'm using the sometimes Firebase console. For example, with Firebase console, you can make what is not possible with, not even with Flutterflow CMS, not even with, okay, with Flutterflow CMS, it's possible. You can create the new document with all data, but with Firefoo and with Rowy, you will create the empty Firestore document and then you will also update. But that is not so useful, for example, if you're using the Stripe payment extension in Firebase, and then you want on creation of, for example, session checkout document, that instantly all the data is available there. So if you just come here, add new document, here you can add everything, title, and then Workspace 003, and then maybe add something like description. This 1, 2, 3. And then click save. That's the way how you can test the Firebase functions with on creation of document, the trigger there. With Rowy, with Fireflow, you will create the document and then you will update it, just to be careful there. With Flutterflow CMS, if you come here, so we are here, add a document, and right now you can just add Workspace 004. Here also you can use that feature, which is the important for that one, so it will create with more than one field. But Rowy, Fireflow, Firebase General Console, and Flutterflow CMS, and your client-side app, all that 5 clients to the Firestore, it has its own advantages there, how to use, how to manage the data. So you will see I'm using the combination of all the 5 of them there for testing the behavior of Firebase functions there, and you will see that one later. And all that is how we did set up the Rowy there. You will see later then. So the Rowy has a lot of powerful features there, more than Firebase. Some, for example, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one are, and that one also are the simple strings there in Firestore, but actually in the Rowy it can looks better there. For example, with long text, you can easily insert multi-line strings, which will automatically add the \n. You can have the URL, which will behave like a clickable link and other stuff. Also here, I have been talking about the actions, which you can implement the Node.js code immediately in the server side. It will be run with the service account in your Rowy backend container immediately. You will not need to wait for the deployment, and you can test it how it's working, and you will have the button here. And when you're satisfied with that one, you can deploy that one as the Firebase version 2 function locally as any other function. And all other powerful stuff, it is, looks like nice visible here and everything. With Fireflow, you can make the some much straightforward reporting stuff, making the automatically backup. With Flutterflow CMS, you have all that one aligned with Flutterflow schema, but general administration stuff. Also, the Flutterflow CMS does not have the support for Flutterflow subcollections there. In that case, you will need to use the Firebase console and other stuff. But as I said, the combination of all of them is working awesome there. And all that should be for the part of setuping the Rowy there. Thanks for watching. We come to the fifth step of 6 of them, GitHub integration. So we'll see how we can easily come there and export the source from Flutterflow to GitHub there and make all some other specific stuff there. So here we are, and we'll just make more room here. Just delete for now the stuff. If you follow the documentation of Flutterflow there for GitHub integration, you can handle that one. But I will set up all that stuff here. GitHub.com. So every time I create the new account for the project with the sequence flow org at gmail.com. Flow org, continue. Sequence flow org. Here we are. Continue. Continue. Let's verify. And I will make more space here. Okay, save it here. Enter code. Just follow all the stuff there. Sequence flow org. Sign in. Not available, just me. Continue. Skip personalization. That's all. And I like to create the new organization. Always the free one. Organization name is the sequence flow organization. And make all the stuff. Sequence flow. Org is taken. Organization. Sequence flow org gmail.com. My personal account, verify, accept. I put it all that to personal to make it more simpler. We don't need to use the Copilot in the, and also I like to always invite myself as the organization member, just to have sequence flow, everything is fine. Didn't make any mistake there. Okay, come here to the with created sequence flow organization. Just go to the people. You will see the sequence flow org general account. It's actually, it is the GitHub account, and that's why we have not been able to create the organization with that handle. But if we will use, for example, Netlify or any other developer tool where we will want to log in with Google, we will have that one sequence flow org account, and we have been using that because that's our domain, and our domain, it has the org. But usually, if that would not be the case, then we would use the sequence flow at gmail.com and the org for the organization. That's why we created the Flutter sequence flow organization as organization, but sequence flow org as user, GitHub user. Just come here and make change role to my account to owner, just to have all the permissions. And when I have all the permissions there, I will be able to have the access to the settings of every specific repository inside. Okay, if we just come back to the repository, and as you can see here, we are signed in with sequence flow org GitHub account. But if we are here and we go to the GitHub here and open the sequence flow from here, flow org invitations, nothing is there. But as you can see, because we created the FF sequence, so that's the wrong one, because organization, there is no repository, but we have the settings access. Before we make any problem here, we will just come here to the repositories. In the organizations, we don't have anything, but if we come here to the your profile, we will delete that one private repository from here because just to not have the issues there. Delete this repository. I want to delete and type that one there. Delete repository because that was accidentally created repository inside of the profile. We don't want that one. And now that profile does not have anything there. If we go back to the organization in the repositories there, we will create the new repository, which we will call, and it's important that it's in one of my organization, sequence flow organization, FF sequence flow. That's it. Here we can have Flutter flow app for app sequence flow organization. Private, initialize with readme to have the default commit, initialize with git ignore to have the Dart for the Dart file there, and initialize to be the Apache license there. Perfect. So sequence flow there. Sequence flow, we have everything. And now we can just copy that one, go back to the Flutter flow here, go to the integration stuff, use the GitHub, where it is, it's here, paste it here, and associate repo. Sign in with GitHub, and now I can sign in with my account. And that will ask me just once. Okay, I need to handle the two-factor authentication there. So this unlock the phone. Here I am. There's the GitHub. Okay. 781.931. Verifying, and repository not yet installed Flutterflow GitHub app because we didn't follow that one. Okay, what we need to handle? If we just open here, you'll see, and we come here. Let's for now take that one outside. Here, configure, and find the sequence flow under S. All my GitHub access there. And we can put only selected repositories, use the FF sequence flow to read, install the GitHub app there. And again, it's asking me for the two-factor authentication, 74664. Perfect. So if we just go back to the Flutter flow and click associate repo, sign in with GitHub, and again, authorize here, sign in, again asking me 477, 475, and it should be initialized. Perfect. I like to disable Dart fix because during the development I want that the GitHub push to GitHub phase it's taking the less as possible. It will be much faster push to repository when the Dart fix is disabled. But before you are building the app, you will want to make run Flutter fix and then repo or init ff app and push there. Perfect. So that will push the stuff here in the repositories where we are here, sequence flow, and we now have the flutterflow branch here. Perfect. GitHub CLI, we have it here. I like to use the GitHub CLI for pulling the stuff, and GitHub CLI is nice to have because uh, it automatically handles the SSH keys and everything. So the terminal is here. I will just right now, when I start the project, dear sequence flow organization, sequence flow organization, just to have the same handle and the folder name like it is the GitHub there. See the sequence. Okay, here we are. We'll just then clone the repository here, and where we are here, cdff sequence flow. Here we have the main branch, but if we pull it, we'll got the also the everything is here. Git merge origin flutter flow. Yeah, we made that one. That's it. Git log, and now we have that one init ffapp on top of git main. Git status, it's everything is clean. Git push, and that's it. So if we open the stuff here, we can see that we have the Flutter app here. And also if we are here, Flutterflow, when we go back to the main branch, you will see that we have everything merged. So every time when we make any changes in our app, for example, just come here and change something like sequence flow authorization. And then if you just come there, you'll see how we can push to repository. Push it there. And that changes will be visible there in the Flutterflow branch as new Flutterflow commit, new git commit there. If you just open here and see the commits, you will see the latest one is here on the top, but that one is not visible in the main branch. I will show you in the next chapter. So we have the integration with GitHub here. In the next chapter, I will show you how we can use the flutterflow-socket, which also has some helpers for GitHub pulling there and automatic merging there. Thank you for watching this chapter. The final 6 of 6 their chapter of that lecture. We will install in the repository flutterflow-socket. So I will show you what the flutterflow-socket is. Flutterflow-socket I created initially 2 years ago. That repository is available on my GitHub account as open source project. I have been using some uh, publicly available scripts there, which is actually just listening for the changes uh, of the Dart files and then send the Unix signal to the Flutter flow running process. Started with Flutter CLI locally, and then actually just when the new changes is there available with Flutter in Flutter source, it will just reload the app. You can check the details there. So I guess you are asking why that is important today when the Flutter Flow local run feature is available. My answer is that one that is still required, because if you manually change anything in Flutter source outside of the Flutter flow, Flutter local run is not aware of that one. if you manually need to install something in main.dart or anything, any specific tweaking. For example, I usually need to change the Algolia service written by Flutterflow, and then manually adjust with some specific stuff, and that will be visible in your final Flutter build. But if you also want to have that one visible during the development, Flutterflow, it's optional. But when you run the app from the source, from main branch, not from the Flutterflow branch, then you will got all that bundled and running there. And you can have that available in one or multiple simulators, physical devices, whatever there. And every change in Flutterflow after the push to GitHub, it will be automatically reloaded there. I will show you that one right now. But first, let's install that script. Uh, and the flutterflow-socket is okay to use when there is the one main, let's say, one developer, one project. Using in collaboration, I do not recommend it use, because a lot of stuff automatically can handle there. When the git conflict appear, conflict markers in the source can go to the main automatically to the branch and everything. So one developer, one project, it makes the really efficient, but more developers should not use that one on the same Flutterflow project at the same time. Why? Also, I will show you, because the one channel we will be using the Flutterflow socket under the hood is using the SME service. Uh, so whenever Flutterflow push the commit to Flutterflow branch to GitHub. GitHub then send the webhook to the SME service, and SME service has we have the implemented the credentials that our local Node.js process, which is the part of the Flutterflow socket, will listen for the change and pull the changes automatic. I will show you all that, and all the details you can check how that is implemented in Flutterflow socket. In every new project, I make that one to be the easiest as possible. Just run the installer sh there, nothing more. You also want specific stuff there, configuration the webhook, but you will see. So if you just copy that one in your project, we have that one here. So here we are, Command K. We are and git status, everything is clean. Just paste it here. So that you can check the implementation of that bash script. It is really simple. Fetch all the scripts there and also install git st. Everything is clean. Git log. As you can see, we installed the Flutterflow socket there. Git diff head tilde 1. You can check what all the changes that one script did make here. But what we need here, okay, we make a lot of changes there. Nothing more. Let's install it again, just to got the. It doesn't matter. It will just override the local script. But right now we just want to got that one. So what you need to make? You need to go to your repository and create the webhook. So actually, we need to copy that one. Go to the repository of the app. Go to the settings. Go to the webhooks. Add webhook. That will point the SME channel. That one should be application JSON. And the secret is that one general one. You can manually change that one in the script, but actually I'm using that one by default. Okay, just push event, add webhook. Perfect. So that one is working correctly. If you open the that one project in Visual Studio Code, you will see that here in the watch script, it's actually using that credentials. And internally, we have the run script, which is the flutterflow-socket script, which is the wrapper around the Flutter run, but with passing that one file, which is through that file, the signal will be sent when the change is happening there. If you open the tools hot reloader, you will see that all that is happening through all that files here. And actually here we have the sync script for automatically loading. In the GitHub, we have the listen script there. So actually here is the listener. I will show you how that is working, and actually that is using the listening for the SME channel changes there. So let's, for example, let's run the app maybe in browser. Run Chrome. The app will be run in about half a minute, fetching the dependencies and everything. Also, we will start run the another terminal session there. You'll see the sequence flow. Here we are. Here we also have git status, everything should be clean, perfect. Git push, just to put that two commits of installation to the main branch. And actually, whenever we make the some push to repository inside of Flutterflow, for example, just come here and whatever, auth 001, make some really simple changes. We can just go here, developer here, push to repository, and then push there. Then here we need to run the watch script. So, but actually it happened there. So right now the listener is working. I also usually like to have the third terminal where I'm resolving the Git conflicts if they appear. So if I make something locally as a change, and also some changes when in the Xcode project, Xcode Workspace configuration somewhere. Some of them are changed by Flutterflow backend, and some of them are changed locally. And sometimes you need to resolve that conflicts to make that your app buildable and that you can run it there. Sequence flow, again, here we are. And so the watch script manually uh, automatically, sorry, under the hood will run the script tools sync. We can get it, or at the moment, app will be run soon here. So we have the Flutterflow app running really soon in the web browser. So the empty splash screen right now is appearing. Okay, Dart source available. It will be soon available there. Okay, we have the login page there. Perfect. If we run the tools sync, right now, that really simple bash script, you can check the implementation of it, what actually is doing there. So that script, it will just pull the changes from origin Flutterflow and merge that one to the main branch. App is run from the main branch, and we have the watch script here. That watch script internally using the hot reload script, hot reloader sh, and whenever in the lib folder the any Dart file is changed, then that script will send the signal to the Flutter process to restart the app. If we again open here, as you can see, we have the sequence flow auth 001 without any interaction with the app. Okay, but actually on top of that one, we can run the tool syncs as much as we want. So when any new commit appear there in the Flutterflow branch, we will just get that one there. So if you just check how the implementation of the sync script looks like, it's really simple. just commit if anything is locally, then pull the changes from the origin and make the merge there. And that's it. If you run with the deep parameter, then actually if you are probably changing the pub special dependencies, or you change the launcher icon, you want to run that one, and that is much slower, but it need to handle all that automatically stuff. But just ignore for now. You can check that one in flutterflow-socket documentation there. Okay, so but let's for now make some space here. What else? So let's make the auth 1 here to the 2, and then also push to the repository. So in about 5 seconds, when the green snack bar here appears, at that moment, GitHub did get the commit and it did push to the SME service. SME service did inform that Node.js watch script there, which is running under the hood, and that script internally did run the tools sync, which we have been running here manually. If we just come here and click git log, we will see that here on the top we have that one merge branch, and here is the updating to the latest Flutterflow. If we git diff head, we will see that we have only one line change from auth 001 to auth 002. If we open the web app, we can see that the app is automatically reloaded. Actually, the web app is restarted because Flutter for web does not offer hot reload, it offers hot restart. So here we are. Let's try that one again. So what you can do, you can go to the Flutterflow, switch that one to free, push that one here, and you can continue development here with some changing whatever there. But from the time to time you want to push changes, that one generated Flutter source to the repository. And then, for example, you or someone else can run the watch scripts there locally. And as you can see here, automatically web app is restarted. So, and you can see the latest changes from Flutterflow in your web app. That is actually working also better for Android and iOS apps, where actually it will be run the hot reload. So you can be like any other Flutter app in the position of some specific screen, and user will stay on that screen. Only the state of the app will be reloaded and you will see the changes. And let's make some additional changes. Also, what I want to give you as a tip, when you come here, you need to click once, twice, and third time, and that's fine. But for me, using the Flutterflow for the last 3 years, that has become really annoying. So my tip for you here is not available in agenda. I'm using the application which is called the Better Touch tool. That is the macOS app with which you can make really simple automation shortcuts. And on top of any app, you can make the shortcut. So I created that you can, when I click Command G, which is the alias to GitHub for me, then it will just move the mouse here, click left, wait 0.3 seconds to show that one pop up there, then click on the push to GitHub, then again wait for 0.3 seconds. It will be loaded in the middle, the custom dialog, and then left click to push to commit that one there. So I will show you that one. If we just come here, we can see the changes 004 locally. But let's make that one to 5. And what did I make? I make the keyboard shortcut Command G. Click Command G. As you can see, with Command G, I have the Better Touch tool shortcut which just give me that ability that I can push to GitHub with custom shortcut without free click, because that will be, you will be making a lot of push to GitHub changes during the development, and you want to make that one the fastest as possible. And if you again wait here, you will see in the several seconds the app will be restarted, and you can see the changes 005 without any interaction with the terminal, which is the, for me, really awesome. And I'm using that one on more than 50 Flutterflow projects in the last uh, 3 years there. But actually 2 years ago I created that one, so it was not been using in all of them, and I created the flutterflow-socket because I want to eliminate that one repetitively job there. So if you just again head tilde 1, as you can see, it is changed from 004 to 005. Actually, another stuff which is here, for example, as you can see, I have an additional shortcut here, Control G. So what is the specific of that? When you are the owner of Flutterflow project, then you can see that icon share project. But when you are invited as collaborator here, and you are not the owner, then that icon is not here. And in that case, I just have the another one shortcut. When you click Control G, it will click to that icon, but that icon will be placed here. And that's actually the same stuff. But when you are the owner, then you can see that share icon, and the developer menu is available one icon to the left. And again, let's again test the final stuff. Click 6 and Command G, push. Because we disabled the Dart lint there, as you can see, in about 5 to 6 seconds, push to GitHub is done. Then immediately the running scripts is take about additionally 5 to 6 seconds, and the app is restarted. So let's, for example, finally try to check how long it takes between the changes. So 7. So we make the 7 and click Command G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. As you can see, in about 15 seconds, you can got the testing app change between your change in Flutterflow in your real device. Because actually, that we are right now just testing the web app in the Chrome browser. But you can run that app on any Flutter available device connected to your building machine. Flutter devices. When you use the Flutter CLI with the command Flutter devices, you can get the list of available Flutter devices and its IDs. Because we run here with the dot, and we can kill the app here with the Control C, and we run the, here is the that ID of the device. For example, if we would like to test the app on the iPhone MS 15 Pro, which is my iPhone connected wirelessly right now to that Mac. And also I have the another one iPhone, which is the iPhone SE here on the table. We will just need to pass the unique prefix. For example, as you can see, 8180. So if you just copy that one here and run, paste that one here. So right now the Xcode will take CPU intensive flow. There it will rebuild from the scratch the whole Flutter app, and actually that will take a lot, something about 5 minutes. And also a lot of stuff are running on my computer. but as you can see, all my 8 cores on the Intel i9 processor are almost on the 100%, and that's why that will take a lot there. But actually, when the app is running on the some real device or on the macOS as a native app or in the browser or on the Android or on Linux, on Windows, wherever, and then the actually all that changes will happen almost immediately in about 15 seconds. And what is the most important, you can have it with the flutterflow socket, you can have open more than one running Flutter app there. So if you again position in the sequence flow project there, so actually here is the, okay, it's not so visible because here you can just come here and click run Chrome. The app is running here, and the app is running, it will be run here. And actually here I will just kill the build because it will take a lot. And you can also run the one or multiple Flutter processes. And actually that is all from that my standard setup of the new Flutterflow project. It takes that lecture about 2 hours, but actually when you just set up that one and you get used for that one, you can be probably done in about 20 minutes. So what did we covered in that whole lecture? So I highly recommend that every time when you start the new Flutterflow project, create the separate Google account. Why? Because with separate Google account, you can have that ability that that account is the holder of your project. If you sold at some point of time your startup, then you can just give the credentials to that GitHub project, and the new owner, it will just have everything set up there, all the Firebase project, Rowy, and everything. So obviously later then it's important to create the Flutterflow project in the Flutterflow dashboard. It is highly recommended that you have free environments, development for development and experimenting everything. Then when you are satisfied with that one, then you send that one to the staging. You can give your internal test users to use the staging there, and for your production users and for the iOS Android apps which will be deployed to the stores, they will obviously use the production Firebase project. Rowy workspace we set up. Why Rowy? Because Rowy, it's awesome. You can easily implement Node.js code, which I didn't show you there, but you can just test that one and check the YouTube videos where how it's possible to implement the Rowy actions. We will use that one later in the application development of sequence flow. Also, I show you how you can export the code to the GitHub, which is the really important because you will never be vendor locked for any your developer, which you agency, uh, which you engage there for development of your part of the app, and you are not locked for the Flutterflow at all. You can just continue development of that project whenever you want, continue outside of the Flutterflow as any other app there. And on top of everything, I added the and show you how you can use the Flutter Flow socket, which I called it. It's my bunch of scripts, which just are my helpers for my project and make me the most efficient building the new stuff in Flutterflow screens, components, and all other parts there in the Flutterflow. During the next lectures, I will try to cover all other part of sequence flow development, because I think sequence flow is the real project, which will use a lot of stuff available in Flutterflow, uh, and all the stuff which is okay to be publicly visible and from which you can learn there from me, I will expose and show you that available as a YouTube video in some future release. Uh, thank you for watching. If you have some additional question, you can contact me on my email, which is show multiple times in the video, or you can reach me on Flutterflow experts and Flutterflow partners. Their dashboard, if you need some additional Flutterflow consulting on your projects. Thank you very much for your attention. See you then in the next video.